Hey, this is Drew Bennett from Big Damn Kid, and today I have the 5th issue of Transformers from 1985 with a very iconic cover, Shockwave, and Are All Dead. What's happened to all of the Autobots? We find out as we get into this issue. Now, this is the return of Shockwave. Shockwave basically has been on Earth for 4 million years, as well as the rest of the Transformers, but he wasn't with them in the Ark. What happened to him? We find out in this issue. And we find out at the beginning of this issue that Shockwave is now consuming as much information as he can. Now this is the Honeymooners, and which is not unlikely that it would be on television in 1985. Because it was on as reruns. I used to watch it. I used to stay up late and watch it on black and white TV almost every night. So it was on late. But Shockwave is here in the Ark, and he is reading. He's watching like transmissions of everything that's going on the Earth, and he's making his assessment. While he's watching here, he is watching a newscast about a new oil rig that was created by G.B. Blackrock. We'll find G.B. Blackrock in many issues throughout the series. But what we also see is a special computer programmer. See her right here? Okay, Josie Beller. And Josie Beller, she's going to become somebody very interesting as time goes on. So we find that Shockwave has basically made himself at home because apparently all of the Autobots are now, hanging there and possibly dead, low functioning. Who knows? Who knows exactly what has happened to all of them? They look dead. They look like, they're there. And in addition to the Autobots, we also have the Decepticons. They are being revived. So you can see with the energy around them that they are being revived by Shockwave because Shockwave does need them because Shockwave has now taken over. He's taken over. He has decided that Megatron, through a series of the next few pages, that Megatron is unfit to lead. So through a few pages of exposition, Megatron tells Shockwave of their time since the crash, what happened there. We find that Shockwave was in a separate spaceship, actually the Decepticon spaceship, possibly the Nemesis, it should be the Nemesis, that he did not become part of that boarding the raiding party. He saw the Autobot ship crash land into Earth, so he followed, and what he tells Megatron here, actually much later in the issue, is he'd been there for 4 million years. After he landed on Earth, he became incapacitated, but he's not going to tell Megatron how that happened so that Megatron can use it against him. Shockwave is smart. He's very logic driven, and he is going to try to keep the upper hand on Megatron as much as possible. Where Megatron is very passionate, he's very emotional, he is going to he's going to go after the things that make him upset. So for example, he even says that by the Great Matrix I will see that human reduced to carbon ash for his treachery, talking about Sparkplug, who has in the previous issue, has gone and tainted the fuel of the Decepticons, making it so that the Autobots could win. And Shockwave, purely logical, says, see, your last statement exemplifies the flaw in your programming, Megatron. There's no room in the Decepticon order for the emotional outburst that Megatron has. And Megatron is a very emotional character. Then we see Shockwave basically take this Autobot and destroy him. And if you look real close on it, it's Sunstreaker. Sunstreaker, that guy has such the worst luck in the Transformers series. In later series, things happen to him, but in this series, I seem to recall Sunstreaker is basically, half dead most of the entire series. And I don't know how many issues it took until he actually came back, but, Shockwave, this is what happens. Shockwave blasts him in half and just leaves them lying there on the ground. He's also colored like Optimus Prime in this, which he shouldn't be. He's yellow. Cut back over to Buster. Buster and Ratchet are still at the hospital. Ratchet has come back with the EMTs, and he and Buster basically just have this conversation out here in front of these EMTs. Robots in disguise? I guess not. Trying to keep them hidden? No. We're just going to talk to Ratchet right there in front of these EMTs, and they basically are, like, they can't believe that this car is talking. They're looking around, seeing if there's some sort of trick or something like that, until Ratchet basically tells them, you stop poking around at me. And he doesn't transform or anything like that, but, they watch this kid have a conversation with the car. Okay. Ratchet tries to contact Autobot base, and he can't reach anybody, so he's concerned. He wants to go back. Buster convinced him to let him go with him, because if he was driving around with no driver for as far as he was going, he might draw some suspicion. Not that standing around in a hospital parking lot talking to a car is, causing much suspicion, or, whatever. So Buster has to go upstairs and tell Sparkplug that, he's going to go and help Ratchet, but he promises Sparkplug that he's just going to go and say goodbye to the Autobots, and that's it, because Buster is all that Sparkplug has in this world. And a giant intergalactic civil war is no place for a high school kid. That makes a lot of sense to me, as a parent. You're not going to want your kid to go traipse around with these robots who, they could accidentally just step on and squash them. So, anyway, we cut back to Shockwave and Megatron, and this is where Shockwave basically tells Megatron, hey, I'm not going to tell you my grand plan. I'm not going to tell you how I ended up incapacitated, and, I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to be the evil, supervillain who reveals his entire plan. Not going to happen. So, what he wants to do is take all the Autobots and use them for spare parts. So he's got the Decepticons dragging them into some place for spare parts, and Megatron says, "Oh yes, my foe Optimus Prime, yes, reduced to spare parts. He's happy about that. He starts to gloat about that, and Shockwave then again tells him, you're an idiot, basically. No, Optimus may have the creation matrix. Now, what's the creation matrix? That's basically the matrix of leadership. And it is the it can light the Autobots' darkest hour. It can also create life. And what we find here is that it's a code that's instilled in a Prime once in every 10 millennia. Okay, so we say that it's it is imbued into one Autobot in that time, and Shockwave has calculated with 99.7% certainty that it was Optimus Prime that was imbued with the creation matrix. And what he wants to do is he wants to get that out of Optimus Prime and create more Decepticons, because there are only 11 Decepticons, and that's not enough to enslave the entire planet of Earth, which he figures is going to be easy enough to do. So he needs more robots to help him. And so then he flies off. He transforms into his space gun mode, and he flies off. Now his space gun mode, it doesn't shrink down like Megatron. He's a big giant space flying gun, and he's giant. He doesn't shrink down. I don't know if in the series he does have that ability to shrink down, and someone can actually use him to shoot, but that remains to be seen. Buster and Ratchet return to the Ark. They are heading back, returning to the Ark. Now, this probably is when Buster should have had his conversation with Ratchet about what's going on and everything, and how Sparkplug tainted the fuel lines and all that stuff. Rather than stand out in the parking lot of a hospital, they should have probably done this on their little road trip back to Mount St. Hilary. When they get to Mount St. Hilary, we learn Ratchet, he's not much of a warrior, but he's a doctor, but he's no less brave. He's very brave, and they get there to the Ark. They figure, Optimus Prime is the greatest. Nothing's gonna defeat him. He'll be fine. But they get there, and they find right at the gate, we got Rumble and Frenzy guarding the entrance. And Ratchet, like I said, not at all unbrave. He's very brave. He just transforms, and he's going to try to sneak past those guys. But Buster tells him, hey, look, you're huge. They're going to see you. I'm small. Maybe I can get through. So Buster sneaks past them, and he ends up into the Ark. He finds his friends all hanging there as if they're dead. We're not sure if they're dead or not. Some of them are clinging to life. And he ultimately finds Optimus Prime. And Optimus Prime is reduced just to his head. Okay, and we can see the scale of Optimus Prime to Buster. And Optimus is still functioning, and he needs Buster. He needs Buster's help to get out of this situation. And that is where the episode ends. And we find that Megatron is going to fight Shockwave in the very next episode. So we'll see what happens there. I would also like to point out that this issue, I'll keep saying episode, thinking it was as cartoons, but this issue is called The New Order. Okay, so with Shockwave as the new commander. And that'll do it for me today. This is Drew Bennett from Big Damn Kid. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as Big Damn Kid. You can also find me at BigDamnKid.com. I don't really post a lot there. I probably should post these particular videos there and more. But for now, I haven't been doing a lot of posting there. I'm hopefully going to redirect it back here anyway. I appreciate that you watch. If you have any comments to leave, that would be great. Oh, I want to point out too, I was looking online to see if there were any homages to this particular cover, because this cover is so iconic. There is one. It's actually out now. It's by Ripped Apparel, who I talked about 2 episodes ago, and I asked if they would sponsor me, but they declined. Anyway, they have one for the new series Optimus Prime, and there's Optimus Prime in the same position, and I think it says are all one. Because for the longest time I always read this as all are dead and not are all dead. I was reading this incorrectly like my entire life, and then I looked at it. Oh, are all dead. It's a question. Who'da thunk? So I have to double check that to see whether or not Optimus Prime number 1 says are all one or all are one. Big difference in that. Anyway, you can find me here doing videos every day. See you tomorrow for episode 6, issue 6. Keep saying episodes. I'm going to do that throughout this whole thing, probably. Also, please subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you like these videos? Are they too long? Are they too short? Am I at all interesting to you? Let me know. Thank you very much.